It's getting a little chilly in here. It's time to create the ice type in Photoshop. Let's get started here. Go right up to File and select New from the menu. And for the width, let's go ahead and enter in here 700. And for the height, let's put in 450. 450. And 72 dpi for the resolution. Color mode set to RGB. And then now down here where the background contents is, we can leave that at white or we can change it to black. It doesn't matter because we are going to change the background color as soon as we click OK. So you can go ahead and put that on white for now and then come up here and click OK. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and position my image and get it centered in Photoshop here. I'm going to come up here to View and View Actual Pixels so that I can see the entire image. Okay, now let's come over here to the foreground color on the toolbar and change that color right down here where the hex input is, the hex value input down here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and put in 003471 right in there, and when you have that, go ahead and click OK. And then select the paint bucket tool and fill in the background there with that color blue. There you are. And now let's switch over to the channels palette. Over here on the layers, or I'm sorry, on the channels palette, right next to the layers here. And if you don't see it, come up here to Window and select Channels, and it'll appear right in Photoshop. Right down at the bottom here, create a new channel. Okay, and this is where we will create our type for our ice. So come right over here to the toolbar and select the horizontal type tool and click right on the image. Now we need to make our type fairly large. Try to match your type or text the same size as mine. I'm going to use the ITC Garamond up here, and I'm going to have that set on bold. I have a 350 point size, and the anti-alias is on sharp. So I'm just going to come in here and just put ice. And then when I like it, I'll go ahead and press enter on the keyboard. So go ahead and try to match your size type up to mine as close as possible, just to make sure everything will be okay during the tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and press the enter key on the keyboard to confirm that, and you'll see it selected and the type should be white. So I'm going to come over here and click on the move tool and position this type right in the center of the image. There we go. Okay, now let's duplicate that Alpha 1 channel we just created with the type. Come in here, over here to the channels palette, and click on Alpha 1 and drag that to the new channel button at the very bottom there, and we'll make a duplicate, and that becomes Alpha 1 copy. And now we can go up here and go to select and deselect the selection that we have. And then on that copy, let's add some filters to that channel. So come up here to Filter, Pixelate, and select Fragment right here, and do that 3 times. And an easy way to do that is to come up here to Filter, and right here you can see it'll have the last filter that was applied at the very top of the filter menu, and you can select it again, and let's do that one more time. So that's a total of 3 times we are applying the fragment filter. Okay, now let's go right back up to the filter menu and then come down here to Pixelate and select Crystallize. And for Crystallize, let's enter in about 7. Looks like I already have 7 right there. And then go ahead and click OK. Now let's go right up here to Select All, and then to Edit, and then down to Copy. And now let's go back to the Layers palette here, and then click on the background, and it should see the blue background there, and then come right up to Edit, and then select Paste to paste that channel on the layer. Now we will need to apply a hue and saturation. Image adjustment, come up here to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. And make sure the Colorize checkbox is checked right there. And for the hue, let's enter in 225. Saturation, 45. Whoops, 45. There we go. And for the lightness, let's go about 23. There we go. And click OK. And right back up here on the image menu, let's go right down to Rotate Canvas and select 90 degrees counterclockwise. You'll see the image rotate there. And then up to Filter, Stylize, Wind. And for this setting here, we'll just want Wind for method, and then direction from the right. And you can go ahead and click OK. All right, let's rotate the image back to the way it was. Come right over to the image, rotate canvas 90 degrees counterclockwise. All right, next, come right back over here to the Channels palette. Click on the tab to bring down the Channels palette. Now, where Alpha 1 is, I want you to click on Alpha 1, which is the original channel that we've created. Next, come up here to Filter, and come down to Blur, and select Gaussian Blur, and input 9.0 in the radius area down here. And then click OK. And now let's go back up to Image, Adjustments, select Levels. Now for the levels input, we have 3 inputs at the very top of the levels command here. Input number 1, let's make that 0. In input level 2, let's go 0.10. And then the last one here, we can do 65. Okay, let's go ahead and click OK. Now hold down the control key, which is the hold down the control key, which is the command key on the Macintosh, and click on Alpha 1. Click on the Alpha 1 channel there, and you will see the text becomes selected. So after you've done that, let's go ahead and go back to the Layers palette and click on one of the layers. Click on layer number 1 so we can activate the Layers palette there. Now make a new layer. Come right down here, the bottom of the Layers palette, and click on the new layer icon. And we need to do a little adjustment here to the foreground and background color on the toolbar. Push D and X on the keyboard, and you should have the foreground color white and the background color black. Now go right up here to Filter, Render, and select Clouds. Perfect. And after you've done that, come right up here to Filter. And come down to Sketch and select Chrome from the Sketch menu. Here we are. And now for the Chrome settings, well, before we adjust that, come right down here where you see the zoom amount. Right now it's 39.1% zoomed out of the image. Click on that and set that to 100% just so we can get a better close-up of our text there with the Chrome applied to it. And then right up here you'll see a little arrow pointing up. Click on that arrow and that will take the sketch sample library there. It'll make that go away so we can see more of the Chrome here. I'm just going to make my window a little larger. This whole new filter gallery, this whole new filter system is just incredible in Photoshop 8. This just makes it so easy, and it's so nice to have really extra large previews now, and it's just great. I'm going to go ahead and just move my text over here. And this is an area on the tutorial on the effect where you will get different results depending on the settings in the Chrome filter. So right here, detail. In other words, if I turn up the detail, you'll see it change. You'll see like the little ripples change a lot, and this is totally different. This looks more Chrome more than anything. I've created the ice both with detail on 0 and both on 10, depending what you're doing. It might look better on 10. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and bring it down to 0 for the detail. Okay, seems to give it more of like a 3D look, and I think that's going to work best out for what we're doing here. And smoothness, if you want it really smooth, or you want to you turn the smoothness all the way down, you're going to see some fine edges around the edges of the type here. You can see at the top and down here at the bottom of the eye, you can see how more defined the edge is at the end of the filter where it's applied. But if you want that a lot smoother, then go ahead and turn smooth up, and you can see that kind of goes away. So we're going to use smoothness at 10 and the detail at 0. And when you have that, go ahead up here to OK and click that button. All right. Okay, next we need to apply a filter or a layer style to this layer. So come right up here to layer, and then layer style, and then select inner glow. And I'll just go ahead and pull this, pull the layer style dialog up a little bit here so we can see what's going on. Now the blend mode, that can be set to screen, which should be the default setting, and the inner glow. And opacity, that can be, let's go about 82 for opacity. And color, I'm going to go ahead and click on the color box here, and we'll need to change the color. We're going to make a custom color here. Go ahead and uncheck the only web safe colors checkbox there, and select the hex value input there, and enter in 53 CBFD. Okay, and when you got that, go ahead and click OK. And for the noise, we're just going to have 0 noise, so there's no noise at all. That'll be just fine. And down here where it says choke, we're going to need to do about a 10 on the choke. So 10% choke, and then the size, 27 for the size. And then the range, let's go ahead and leave that at 50. And come up here and click OK. All right. And you can see we've applied the glow to the ice. Doesn't look like ice quite yet until we do just a couple more steps here, and I'll show you what to do. Come right over here to the blending mode menu for that layer and select overlay, and we'll overlay the chrome filtered layer over the crystallized layer at the bottom here, and look at the result. Isn't that cool? And what I like to do, I find myself every time I do this, I come over to the opacity and I want to lower that. So I'm going to go 8.5. And after you're all done with that, come up here to select and just deselect the selection. And there you go. Check it out. Now, I'm not going to leave you guys right here on the tutorial, because after thinking about it, some people may want to have the background transparent, have the text, have the ice type or text on its own like transparency. So as you can see here, the crystallized type layer, it has a background on it, and that's really no good, because then we can't we can't place this text over other backgrounds. We're only stuck with this background. So let me show you as an additional as like kind of like a bonus to this tutorial. Let's go ahead and make the ice type transparent to the background. So we're going to actually isolate it from the background. But here's what we can do. Go over to the Channels palette and hold down Control, which is the command key on the Macintosh, and click on the Alpha 1 channel. Okay, and then go back to the Layers palette. Click on layer number 1. And then up here where select is, undo that, go to select inverse. And then now press the delete key on the keyboard and you will erase away the winded effect that looks like frost. And we will apply that again, but this is to create, this is to make the ice text more transparent from the background. So after you've done that, come up here to select and deselect the selection, and then over here on image, come down to rotate canvas, select 90 degrees clockwise. And then come right back up here to filter, and down here where it says, stylize, select wind. And then we will just apply that wind filter there again. And this is really cool because it looks more frosty this way when you do it twice. Really interesting. There's so many possibilities. But just have wind, and then for direction, just select from the right, and then come up here and click OK. And there we go. We have our frosted applied. And I'll just come over here to image, rotate canvas, and select 90 degrees counterclockwise this time, and just put it right back to the way it was. And there we go. And now it's transparent, like I'll show you. I'll go ahead over here to the background and just click the little eye to make the background invisible there, and you can see it's transparent. So we can do anything with that background. We can make the background any color we want, and the ice type will look just fine. There you go. There's a black background. We can make that a lighter blue background if we wanted, even a purple background. There you go. You can even put a drop shadow behind it now. You can apply layer styles to it because it's on its own layer here. And so, but there you go. Experiment with that. That's a really great tip. I had a lot of fun making that one, but enjoy making ice in Photoshop.